and found that the park was under construction. So that took care of that. But I was glad that I did what you suggested.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to, I was able to get Wi-Fi up there as well, but there was really no place that I could sit, or I mean, I could take a chair. It just was not conducive with everything. So I did it out here in the backyard.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for the suggestion, because I never gave that a thought about the Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Betty's sitting out here in the woods, so
Yeah, I know. Isn't
Yeah,
this a little complicated?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what, she hasn't figured that out yet for me. So
You have the green screen turned on. I wonder if that might be it.
I could be, I don't know how to get it off, or I mean,
Go to the little triangle next to the stop video button.
yes,
There's you should see different things, and one of them should be video settings.
yes, okay. Click on,
And if you go down, I'm trying to remember where it is. Backgrounds and filters. Do you see on the left? There's all general video, audio.
okay, now where, video background?
Backgrounds and filters.
Background and filters.
It's under chat.
Boy.
It says, Lynn, it says under chat for me and maybe for her, it says virtual background.
Oh, maybe.
Okay,
Sorry.
virtual background, yes.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, I clicked on that.
Does it have the
It's,
picture that you chose there?
as I click, it says I have a green screen.
Unclick that.
Yeah, I think that will. Okay, yeah.
I think that might be it. And maybe that will fix it. I can't.
Let me see. I'll go back to, okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll click
Yeah.
there. Thank you.
Yeah, they don't have letters all over your forehead, so that's good.
Yeah,
You did that well, Barbara.
I thought we had to read her.
surprisingly,
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
with some help though.
It was your turn today.
But
Yeah.
Lynn, I just wanted to let everyone know that there's a nasty phone scam out there.
Oh.
Started Tuesday night. It's supposedly from Apple support, and it's telling you that your iCloud account has been breached, and that you should call this toll-free number at 1-307. That was my first giveaway. 307 is not a toll-free number. And they were trying to get you to hook up with Apple support or an Apple support person and whatever. The bad part of it is it started Tuesday night around 7:30. And by 9 o'clock, they had called me 10 times.
Oh, jeez.
And it's an automated voice. And I just left the voicemail pick it up, but 10 times. And it got to the point where it was every 7 minutes they were calling. So finally, around 9 o'clock, they quit. But the next morning, Wednesday morning, yesterday, they started in again. About 10 o'clock. Called me about 4 or 5 more times. And I finally left the phone off the hook for an hour or more, and they stopped calling so far, knock on wood. But just be aware of it. If you get anything strange like that, saying to contact Apple support because your iCloud account has been breached,
Why can't I
do
move it
anything.
the other way?
Why do you think? Why would they get you? I mean, and then so relentlessly.
Who
Why-
knows? Who knows?
And it sounds like the one I got from Microsoft. Remember that?
Mhm.
Oh, luckily I caught that one and didn't call the number because it's a little strange. But yeah, they make you stop and think. But thank goodness for your tips.
Yeah. Be
Lynn,
vigilant. You never know. Yeah.
I have a few things here,
Okay.
just not to do now, but just one was security systems, best overall, Front Point, SimpliSafe, EDT, Nest, and Ring.
Are these homes security systems?
Yeah, just what is the best? And I guess Front Point was said best overall. Second thing, I have Norton and LifeLock. What is VPN?
It's a virtual private network, which basically means that it encrypts everything you do online. Businesses are known especially to have them, especially for like these remote workers we have now. They put VPNs on their networks so they kind of have some control over what their employees are doing, and it's not going out publicly, weird places. So it's a way to protect companies from stuff.
I have Norton LifeLock. That doesn't mean I have VPN, does it?
Yeah.
Some antivirus software does include VPN, but I'd have to look at your plan to know for sure.
The Norton, Lynn, the Norton that comes with Comcast has VPN.
Okay.
I think you have to accept it separately, but it offers it for free. Yeah.
So I'm fully encrypted.
As long as you have it turned on,
Okay.
you can check and make sure it's turned on.
Maybe I'll finally be understood. So, okay, the last one is security systems,
Mhm.
privacy issues inside, cameras or other privacy issues, like Alexa and smart TV.
Mhm.
Trying to think. Patty wrote these. I'm trying to think what I'm talking about. Privacy issues.
You worried about Google Homes or Alexa spying on you?
No, I don't worry. I'm really,
Very real.
yeah, pardon?
It's a real thing.
It is real?
Mhm. They're collecting data from you.
You don't play customer golf with me. You don't give me the answer I want to hear. So it's not,
I do feel like doomsday. I feel like that creepy person out of the woods that, never goes out.
you say have a sweet day and then you say all these other things. So, so what you're saying is that's the concern's real there.
Mhm. Yeah. And if you're super concerned about that, the best thing to do is just not buy a Google Home
Right.
or a smart, AI device.
Well, I have an Alexa.
Yeah.
That
You have one then. So what you can do, if I have an Alexa, I like my Alexa. I'm just aware that it might be tracking and picking up information from me that is getting sent back to Amazon, which in some ways is beneficial for me. And then in other ways, I'd rather them not have it. So there are pros and cons to everything. But you can.
So Lynn, for the
Yeah, Karen.
so for the Alexa to pick up information, is it just recording what you're asking, or when you're not doing something, is it listening to the TV in the background and knowing, what station you're listening to, or is it able to pick up information in other ways?
That is the big question. There's not a real knowledge on what it is picking up, because you never know what these companies say stuff, but is what they're telling you accurate? There are questions. I know when I watch TV and stuff, sometimes they pick up, like, so they'll say Alex or something and then they pick up stuff. So it's hard to say for sure. There have been studies that say, oh, we're safe. And then there are other studies that say they're picking up every single conversation when you're not listening and sending it back. So it's hard to know for sure. And I haven't done enough research because I'm afraid to find out. But
But
the way to avoid it is to mute the mic. But then when you say, hey, Alexa, what's the weather? She's not going to answer.
West Chester, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. with 15 Today, we can expect
Putting a point on it.
Perfect. Well done.
So I guess that means everything we say, Alexa hears too.
As long, I think, as if you trigger it, but it's hard to, again, it's monitoring your voice to see if you're picking up its, name.
No, I mean what we're saying right now. What we're saying on Zoom, your Alexa's picking up.
Yeah, I know we did a baccalaureate service at the church, and there was one girl who was graduating with the name Alexis. And every time Chris said it in the service, it would wake it up. And thankfully I was on mute, so it didn't go out. But.
That's a problem.
Funny.
So yeah, there are studies that say it's they're picking up a lot more information than we want them to be picking up.
I don't know. My husband, we have a little one that my son gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've had fun playing with it, just asking the weather and who that person is we just saw on TV, but we'll give the name.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband might take a moment and not finish a sentence. And so she says, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. And so I said, you have to think what you're saying
Mm-hmm.
clearly before you say her name. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes she'll give him an answer and he thinks a moment and then will respond something cute like, thanks, you have a good day. And nothing happens. And I said, you didn't say her name again. So it seems she's not, the one we have, the little one, is not that sophisticated, but I wonder the ones you have to pay a lot for, if they do listen to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Which would be the good news and the bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, there are times when I say names that it doesn't pick it up. So you never quite know.
Patty, things like you just set a stove timer. We don't set a stove timer anymore. Things like that.
Right.
No.
I know.
That's very useful.
I do my grocery list. I just say, hey, add this to the grocery list. It's great. My favorite app on them, I don't know if you've discovered, Question of the Day. You ask it the question of the day, and it gives you one question. And if you get that question right, you get a bonus question. And it's just random trivia, and it's just entertaining every day to see. So that's my favorite of the things that.
We've been trying out a couple of the new programs that are on, and one of them is called Next. Has anyone seen that? It's kind of about this issue and, the dark web or whoever those bad people are getting into someone's home device. And they have a little boy who's like 9 years old, and he loves talking to Alexa, and now she's initiating conversations. It's not called that. It's called something very close to that. And so it's telling him things to do. It's now telling him that he shouldn't trust his parents, that his mother is bad.
Oh, great.
And, all of this. So the techies have figured out what's going on, and they're trying to find the source of this. And it's this big thriller. It's on every week. I forget. I think. See, we tape things, so I can't tell you what's on. It's either on Fox or 10. It's one of the higher things, and we get very limited cable, so it's not on cable. But you might want to watch that, Lynn.
Yeah.
Just
Or not.
It's like Black Mirror. I love that show, but it freaks me out every episode. That reminded me of something I was going to say.
What channel Black Mirror on?
I watch it on Netflix. It's a BBC show, so
Okay, yeah, we get Netflix. But just to confirm, Alexa is just audio, right? There's no video component that you know about?
I think there is a video one now.
I was gonna say,
I think they just released like a baby monitor type thing, which you could do, you know, video stuff with. But I know Google, I think, has an assistant that has one as well.
They're gonna be all split up anyhow, right? Isn't that what your email said, right?
Well, it depends. You never know. They're powerful companies. Don't know what's going to happen.
right.
Ideally, I think they need to be broken up for the world's sake.
That's interesting from a techie point of view. I'm not saying you're a techie, but you know, there are advantages to having the kind of business models they do. Look at the things they've done, break them up, and you destroy that business model. You also destroy the, you know.
And I do love that it all lives in those worlds, like Apple, everything Apple speaks Apple and everything Google speaks Google, but there are disadvantages to that as well, so.
I just looked up Next, and it is on Fox, and it says, missed an episode, fox.com. It's not paranoia if the threat is real. So,
Yeah.
I don't know why I find it so entertaining, but I do. I guess it's just knowledge is better than just being afraid. You gotta learn what the problem.
Have you guys seen the SNL sketch about Alexa?
No.
From a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, from a few, it's like Alexa for seniors.
Yeah, yes. That was great.
It's entertaining. Worth a watch. Yes.
Lynn, I just want to say, I don't know how other people feel when they miss something if they watch your recording, but I really appreciated it because it was really helpful last week's recording and I wasn't here. And one of the things though that came out was the idea of turning off your video if you want to leave your seat, which is a great idea, I think. But I was really surprised when I saw, and maybe you guys saw it on television, a professor was doing a lecture and there was probably 25 faces on the screen, but there were no faces. They were all just names. None of them wanted to be seen, I guess, on the screen. I mean, they could just put that on and walk away. I might even be there. Now, the point of the story was that they all sent a "I love you" type thing to the professor. In other words, we are here. We're just not letting you see us. And I can understand why. If you just get out of bed and you don't want to. That almost happened to me today because I was watching last week's and watching the play thing. I thought, oh my gosh, I got to get ready to go. Anyway, but thanks for the recording. It's very, very helpful.
You know,
And I wouldn't mind hearing more about Google Docs.
I wonder, I know we talked a lot about that quickly and I didn't have time to find short explanations and teach well. I feel like I'm needed to spend some time to explain it better for you guys than just.
Well, the link that you sent was really helpful. In fact, that's what I got involved in, and all of a sudden it was 5 to 10. So, oh.
you know, I might have mentioned this before, but I was born in September of 1951, and I was going through several years ago a store where they were selling old Scientific Americans, and there was one for the week that I was born, or the month I was born, so I bought it. And there's a little section in there that talks about new technology that when you talk on the phone, you can actually see who you're talking to. And they were saying it's going to be a big thing. But you notice how long it took. It didn't happen so long. And part of it, I do a lot of phone calls for church and so on too. And many of the times that I call, it's better they can't see me. I don't think I would minister nearly as well if they could see me. So what that showed is that people didn't really necessarily want the picture phone much of the time. And I know I don't. There's times I'd rather not be seen. I'm not being facetious here. I mean, it's true. So I
Mhm.
just think it was interesting because now finally it's caught on, but there's a lot of times I just prefer to talk on the phone, and particularly these days when everybody's at home and so on.
Mhm. I know my brother works in the corporate world, and he says that he's not seen a lot of the women, especially, don't ever put their videos on. He hasn't seen some of his female coworkers since COVID because they just refuse to put the video on, which I think is hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, different people.
So at one of the recent GLS leadership events,
Yeah.
you know, which was at the church, there was a speaker there who was a millennial, and he was saying that, you know, his daughter, his young daughter, toddler, has never had a phone that didn't have video. And when he's on the road and calls home, you know, if the video is not on, she just puts the phone down and walks away because it's broken, I guess.
Mhm.
Aw.
So a telephone isn't a telephone to her necessarily that way. Boy, I mean, it's so much more.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's never had a telephone that didn't have video.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. Different things that you grow up with.
So it's also interesting too, I guess, that Lynn, you're the only millennial here, and we're all boomers.
We're older.
Yeah.
Excessively mature, right?
Okay, if you want to go way back, I remember our house had the phone with the cord, of course. But we used to have a party line. So you'd pick up the phone and there might be already somebody talking, and if you were really mean, you could listen and they might not know, or you could just say, you know, you've been talking for an hour. I need to make an important call.
God.
Anyone else remember that?
Yeah,
I don't
we had-
remember party lines, but I remember having a phone number that was just four digits.
Yeah.
Mine was, I couldn't speak well. Free 505. That was our first phone number. Free
3577.
No clue.
Lynn doesn't remember just when it was 7 numbers, probably. Do you?
Yeah, I've got the 10-digit one. Yeah, I've always had the same.
Wow.
Yeah,
Lynn, do you know what an alarm clock was?
I do.
I found some and I showed my grandkids and they had no clue what it did, what it was for.
I grew up with a rotary phone that was on the wall that like you couldn't just walk away from. So
My son had a really fun experience. He teaches 7th and 8th grade, and they were off on a field trip and in the mountains in Colorado, and this one little girl was homesick. And she said, "Can I call home?" He said, "Sure, there's a phone in the other room." Well, she went into the other room and came out about 3 or 4 minutes later in tears. And he said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I don't know how to make it work. It was a rotary phone."
yeah,
Oh, dear.
yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah, my parents had a rotary phone that hung on the wall, and it had a party line on it. And as a kid, it was a fun thing to do. I'm not sure it was a mean thing to do. It was a fun thing to do. Put your hand over the receiver and then listen into the conversations that the other folks were having. And Lynn,
Yeah,
have you ever encountered a typewriter in person?
I have.
In
I have
person. In the museum.
at my grandparents' house.
Not an electric one. An electric one though, probably, right?
Both. They had both.
Yeah.
And I would, being the kid that I was, I thought it was more fun to type on the typewriters than on the computers because
Yeah.
Until you made a mistake and you couldn't just backspace. You had to use corrector fluid or the little paper things
Right.
or start all over again.
yeah.
Try doing it with carbon paper and making a mistake.
I know, I did. Where I worked, I did. Oh, it was awful.
I was
Oh,
at Stephen Ministry last year. They wanted me to do a presentation on something, so I put my stuff together, and I talked to Barbara about getting slides made, transparencies made up for it. She looked at me like I was speaking Russian.
right.
Like, transparencies and so on. And she was very kind, which Barbara is, but I didn't realize that you can't do that at all anymore. So,
Yep.
Mhm. I grew up using those in school though, so I'm not that old. Or
Or
young.
young. Or young.
Not young.
Your school was old.
Hmm.
You still had that.
there's no such, people don't use overhead projectors at all anymore then. Is that
In
right?
schools, it's more TV based and smart boards. But when I was growing up, it was still overhead projectors.
But like at church, you couldn't do it like at church. They don't use overhead projectors ever.
No, we've pretty much gotten rid of the projectors that we would take around to different classrooms because they were just breaking all the time and the quality was horrible. We've a couple years ago put in smart TVs in a couple rooms that you can plug computers into. So we're doing that more. And I'd like if all the classrooms on the first floor of Heckert had that, because it makes life so much easier. Especially going forward with hybrid meetings, if we do have to do that. Connie, how'd your circle go this week?
Well, technically my circle went fine, and I actually was able to use the iPad, but there were supposed to be 3 people joining me in the classroom, and the rest were going to be virtual, in their homes. But the 3 people that were supposed to be joining me had a mental lapse and spent the hour walking around looking for me because they went to the wrong building. Because we had to change from the Brinton Art Room to a classroom to get the screen, and they just didn't remember that I put in all caps in my email, Cardinal Classroom, but that didn't help. So I said to Don, I said, well, you walk a fine line over here with older people, whether to treat them like adults most of the time, but sometimes you just have to treat them as a child. Call them that morning and remind them, which is what I will do next month. So, but it worked fine as the rest of it. Yeah. So.
And I have a question
So
about.
switching gears,
Whoops.
One of you go.
I'll
Go
go.
ahead,
All
Nancy.
right. All right, thank you. The video from last week, when you were showing the YouTube, how to use the YouTube and stuff,
Yeah.
I noticed that on that screen was a Zoom picture of our Bible study meeting. Would that have been from a screenshot, or was that actually, in other words, were people on that YouTube hearing our meeting?
I don't think so. I bet I had a photo up that somebody sent. This is the Wednesday circle or the
Yeah.
Wednesday Bible study.
Last week, yeah.
One of the ladies sent me a photo, and I think I had it just on my computer, and I don't think it was on YouTube. I'd have to go back and
Well,
look.
it was on the YouTube. It was in the YouTube video that you had up on the.
Well,
but
I
anyway.
was screen sharing my computer, so.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
So you
Well,
would-
but like, could
hold
someone
up.
take a screenshot of this, of us right here,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you would see all those people?
Yeah,
But it would only be a screenshot. You wouldn't know what they were saying.
yeah.
No.
And I've posted pictures on our social media of Zoom, screenshots.
Yikes.
Hmm.
I try to give them warning so that
I was gonna say, yeah, that's, I don't know.
Mm.
This is-
But yeah, there hasn't been anything I've done on YouTube that is on that, but it's very possible I have so many files open on my computer. I try to clean it up before we meet so that you guys don't have to look through all my crap.
Mm.
I sometimes forget, and I forgot last week, so it's possible. Terrence, what was
So
your
question about, it was a continuation, and Nancy mentioned it also, continuation of the Google Docs
Yeah.
conversation we had last week. How do you send an invite to get other people to join or collaborate on a particular, the Google Sheets or whatever?
So, let's go through this. So you would go to your Google Drive, say, and you go to Google Drive. And
Are you here? Whoops.
okay. So we would open, say, a new Google Doc that you want to share with people. Yes. So say I want to share this with you guys. I would hit this share button. Right now it's private. It's just for me. But if you click that, well, I guess I need a name first. So tech test. And then I would, if I know they have Google Drive accounts, I would type in their names here. And then just hit, this, and you can write a message like, hey, sharing this with you today, or whatever. And then you can hit send. You can also change it. So an editor would mean they could edit the document. So if you want them to be able to edit the document, you would have editor. If you want them to be able to comment on the document or if you just want them to view it, you don't want them changing anything, you would hit viewer. So I typically always do editor based on whatever it is, but after you choose that, you hit send and it goes.
That has to be a Gmail address though, right?
So if you do that, type in a person or group, that would have to be a Gmail account. But the second half under the share button, it's get a link. And so you can copy a link, and this is anyone with this link can view and edit it. So you would copy this, it copies to your dashboard. And you can change it to different things as well. So anybody with this link on the internet can view it, or anybody that you send the link to, you can change that. And then you would say open email and copy it and paste it in your email. So I would then go to my email over here and then, write a new email send it to myself because I'm a weirdo. And then this is, Gmail, and since it's already copied to my document, I just hit paste and it now goes. So
Does it have to be a different link for each doc?
each document will be a different link because the way the internet URL links work, it means that it's a specific place it's sending you to the internet. So there's never two same URLs.
Right, yeah.
So each document would have a different one. So if you're sending like 5 documents, then you would, pick all 5 and be like, here's document 1, document 2, document 3, or you just, when you share them. So those are 2 different ways you can share. Does that make sense?
That's very helpful. And just a question, you sparked my interest. I'm not sure you know the answer to this, but how is a URL generated? Because there's so many of them.
Right. I'll stop the screen share so that you don't have to stare at that. everybody who has a website has to buy a URL to host domain. So for example, Westminster, our URL is westminsterpc.org. And we pay a fee every year to keep that URL. Google pays, for google.com. And there was actually a big thing a couple of years ago when, like, for 30 seconds, somebody, like, they hadn't paid for the next year and somebody snapped it. And for like a day, Google was offline, and because of that. So, so URLs, so a URL like that would be then that. But then inside that, you can choose that next layer of it. So like, for example, westminsterpc.org/livestream. I got to choose that because I wanted it to be easy for people to get to the live stream. So you can edit those within that big URL. So like Google Documents will always be like doc.google/ and then be something usually related to the name of your file or a number. It's like, this is the 2,589th document. So that's what the number is. And that's why a lot of those links are so long. Does that make sense? Am I talking above you guys?
Who owns the internet,
No,
though?
that makes sense. But then,
There is no one owner of the internet. It's a collaborative group that put it together. And so it's just like floating out there. I'm trying to think of a way to describe
But
it.
who are you sending your money to pay for
There
the
are different
URL?
companies. There are a host of different companies that monitor the URLs. So there's websites where you can say who owns this URL. So before COVID, I had a website for my personal business, but it crashed and I haven't had time to fix it. But I own the URL lilliputproductions.com, and I pay SiteGround, which is a hosting site, to take that from me every year. And they are the ones that keep all the content for my website on there as well. But there are a ton of different companies. The church uses Triple Strength. For ours, One-on-One, Bluehost, GoDaddy are all companies that buy, or like, there are available URLs. And if you say I wanted to get Westminster or WPC.org because it's shorter and would be nicer, it would yell at me and say this was taken by this company and you can't have it. Does that make sense?
so question about the URLs within the URLs, like westminsterpc.org/livestream. Do you have to pay for that one in addition to the westminsterpc.org?
No, that's unlimited. You have that westminsterpc.org, so you could do however many custom ones you want besides that. And you can do subdomains, which would be like admin.westminsterpc.org, which would be a whole nother chain. Those periods before the org or the like com or whatever, though, if you have another period ahead of that, it makes it a subdomain, which means it lives underneath. It's like a chart. It's a flow chart, like Westminster PC up here. And then you can do all these little subdomains and then have like admin.westminsterpc.org/livestream. But you could also have westminsterpc.org/ I feel like I need a chart to show you. It's it's a maze, and you could very easily get into hundreds and thousands of
How do you decide which host to go with?
deals, discounts. there are different companies and there are some that are known better for different things. Like, I know a lot of nonprofits go with GoDaddy because they're really cheap, but you might have seen some of their ads and they're very scandalous ads. So a lot of nonprofits purposely don't use them because they're known for that kind of advertisement. So yeah, but I think we pay, it's like 15 to 30 bucks a year to do that. But if you want security and protection with that, like, you remember that little lock thing we talked about next to it? That's an additional cost to do. So, yeah, it's this whole money-making business that started in the 90s with the .com era.
I remember when internet first, I would say it coming out, something like 93 or something like that, which now seems like Old Testament times. It's so far in the past, but I started to wonder who's paying for this. Now, every time you get on, you see an ad for something. Certain Geico ads are on all the time. Now, to what extent and how are they paying for the internet, so to speak?
Well, Geico, for example, would own its domain, geico.com or whatever it is. But then they pay whoever you're seeing the advertisement for. So if you're seeing the ad on Google, they're paying Google for real estate space on their website. Or if you see it on, say, like the Wall Street Journal website along the top, they're paying money to Wall Street Journal to put their ad on their URL. So it's real estate, they call it real estate space on different ad things. It's kind of like the old newspaper. You have so much space you can put ads, and where can we fill it? So you know, they're paying Facebook to put ads of Geico on Facebook, or they're paying, you know, whoever for that space. And then it will send them, if you click that ad, it will theoretically send you to that website, their website, so you can get more information about it.
Have you ever seen data on how effective advertising on the internet is in terms of people actually buying? Have you ever seen data on that?
There are tons of studies on that, but I don't have that off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But a lot of times it's people accidentally clicking on things that they don't mean to click on, and it takes them there, especially if they don't have ad blockers. So that's why a lot of malware gets on your computers, because you can easily click on things and not mean to do that. So, yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Thanks for the hot tip.
Yes. Ad blockers are amazing. They don't get everything, but.
No, but I click wrongly. It's a problem, I know.
You're not the only one. We all do it.
So how much do ad blockers cost?
The ones that I've sent out in the past are free. You can donate to them to, you know, say thank you, keep up the good work type thing. But there are extensions in Chrome and Firefox and Edge and Opera where you can just type in ad blocker and you'll see a ton of them.
Okay. What do you do when it comes up? Now, help me with this.
Yeah.
It comes up and it says,
You're not allowed to.
do you want to block or not? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's very close to that. So
it makes you feel guilty, but I'm not sure which way.
let me pull up a newspaper because I know that they do it on their websites.
They make it sound, whatever this is, they make it sound like,
And I know Hulu does it too.
they make it sound like if you don't do this is how we're able to pay to do this. So if you don't do it,
Yes, then you can't read our article or whatever.
Yeah.
I know Hulu does it. Hold on, let me pull it up.
but there's even something besides that direct thing. I know because you start to read an article, you just get interested, and then they slap your hand, don't let you do it. I know that's aggravating. But
Yeah.
there's also something where it tells you to, what am I thinking? To turn on or turn off is it turn on or turn?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that actually let me do it with the ad blocker on. That's crazy. That's great. Sorry.
Is that what it is? It tells you to turn
Off
on?
my ad blocker, yeah. Hold on. I know I've got one. I get them all the time. Nope.
No, cookies. Maybe it's cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to do with cookies. The fact that do you want to get rid of the cookies again, and almost makes it sound like you shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, turn off cache and cookies. Well, I'm not seeing a pop-up yelling at me, which is rare because I feel like I get them all the times. But I'll show you how, for example, to do it. So say it yells at me and says, you can't read this because of that. A big pop-up comes up. Hey, stop doing this. I've got 2 ad blockers on my computer because I'm a freak of nature. But you can see them here. Here's one. And there's a button here that says pause on this site. So anytime I come to New York Times, it's going to pause it. And do you see how it went from red to green? So now you're no longer blocking ads. And then I've got another one here and it says pause there, and now that's green. So now it would, if I refresh the page, it would let me do that. But you have to do that. And then there's sometimes where you can say, and then you can go to another website and it will be back. So now if I go to say like Westminster, you can see it's red again. Well, here it's not, but that's a bad example.
Do most of us have ad blockers?
If you've attended my class and followed the links I've sent you, you probably have an ad blocker. I have several times sent links out to add an ad blocker. So you would see something, it usually is a stoplight or a red thing that says not. But if you want to screen share your computer, we can look and see if you have.
No, I don't want to. I did that last week.
And Lynn, will you send out in your recap of this
Sure.
TED Talk an ad block link or an
Sure.
unblock link?
What browser would you like it for?
Well, I have Firefox and Chrome, which are the 2 I use most.
Okay. I can send another one.
Lynn, ad blockers don't take care of pop-ups, right? That's my computer?
They try to, it depends on what you mean pop-ups. Do you mean pop-ups on a web page, or do you mean pop-ups just randomly popping up on your computer when you don't have the internet open?
No, it's through the internet. It's one site that they said, turn off your pop-ups or turn off your refusing pop-ups. And there must be something within my computer that I can turn it off. It's not because of the ad block, right?
The ad blocker, if it's a website like Dan was talking about earlier that says we run on these ads, so please, if you want to enjoy our website, you need to shut off your ad blocker. A lot of newspapers and different things like that, and like Hulu and things that, you know, they'll do a big pop-up and they won't let you read the article until you turn it off. So if it's a pop-up like that, then yes, it's because of that thing.
So would you turn it
No.
off then?
If it's a website I trusted, like a newspaper, or if I want to watch something on Hulu, I'll shut it off for that website, so that I don't have to do it again. But if it's a sketchy website, if I'm looking for information on how to fix a computer problem and I don't know the website, I'm not going to I'll go and look and see if I can find a different website with the same information on it.
Now, this is the AARP Safe Driving course. And it said you need to turn off your pop-up file for this.
It's
And I didn't,
possible.
so I would have to go, I mean, I can't go to the ad blocker and say, just turn off the pop-up, right?
Mhm.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah. It's where I just showed you on the side.
Yeah. But I didn't see it said pop-ups in there. It said pause for this site, but that was the whole ad blocker.
Ad blockers include pop-ups.
But if okay, never mind. I think I got it.
There are multiple kinds of ads that they protect you from. They don't catch everything. There are times when they miss stuff. But they include pop-up ads that, you know, go all over your computer. They include the ones on the side of your screen, and then the ones up across the top.
I've got a red stop sign with ABP written.
Yep, that's your ad blocker.
So I got it.
Yep. That's where you would pause it if you need to pause it. If you click on it, does it let you?
I'm not going to click. I'm no clicky today.
Okay.
Last time I did it, you all just disappeared. So
Well, when this is over, test it and see if you can pause it on that website. And if you can't, well, then we'll revisit it next week.
But if I pause it on that AARP site, then will ads come up on the side of the screen? Because
Yes.
see, I don't want that. I don't want that that's going to mess up if I'm trying to take a test or something. So,
But it's not going to let you take the test without seeing the ads.
oh, well, all right. Okay.
So it's one of those, you ignore them on that site because you know that AARP needs the revenue from those ads. And they're smart enough to know that you are smart enough to put an ad blocker. So, and I would say you could shut it off on their site because they're a trusted organization. And my guess is they don't usually add bad ads on their website. I could be wrong, but.
Oh, it's possible that they don't even have ads on their website, maybe?
No, they probably do. They're probably making money off that because.
Well, they charge me for the course, so there's my money. Yeah.
Well, that might be part of it too. You're paid for this thing.
Yeah.
Content blockers.
Yeah.
You might have already answered this, but if you're on a page that wants you to unblock
Yeah.
them, and you do that so you can finish reading the article, and you forget to go back and block it again, does it reset? Does it default to blocking the next time you go there, or does that keep it?
It depends on what version you paused it on. There's usually a selected pause on just this page, pause on this website. Like, so anytime in the future, if I go to AARP, it will shut it off, or pause it entirely on everything. So if you pause it on just that web page or on that site, it would, if you go to a different website, it would fix it and turn it back on. But if you shut it off for everything, it would shut it off for everything. So there's usually three options. So depending on what you do, I tend to do with shut it off for the site, so I don't have to do it every time I go to that website in the future, because I know they're smart enough to know that they know I have something to protect me.
And Nancy, I had a question. The AARP Safe Driving course, is that, if you take that, do you get a reduction in your insurance?
It depends on your insurance. I get 15% from State Farm, and I'd taken it a couple times, and it's good for 3 years. And I'd taken it a couple times, and then the last time that I tried to do it online, they wanted me to add some other app, and I didn't want to do that to my desktop. So I haven't had it for a couple of years. Well, then this time I got a flyer in the mail for 25% off the fee or something. And I thought, now I've got a new laptop and it probably has what they want. And sure enough, so I'm taking it on there. If you're a member of AARP, there's a discount. And actually, if you're interested in it, I can probably give you the code. Are you an AARP member? No. Hello?
You're muted, Terrence, if,
Thank you. I think I am.
Okay, because I don't know if this was just sent to me because I'm an AARP member and actually my Part D, or my Medigap is with AARP. But otherwise, if the coupon was just mailed to me randomly, I can probably even tell you the promo code. And actually, okay, anyway, it's www.aarp.org /DriveSafe8. And then the promo code is SEPT25, and that's good through October 31st. Okay, so when I went to that URL that they put on there, they'd already taken $6, and the cost was 20 something, 25 maybe, and they'd already taken $6 off because I was an AARP member. But that must tell me that if you're not an AARP member, they just will let you continue. And when I added the promo code, I also got another percentage off. So I'm taking that for $16, which it's worth it. But you can check with your insurance company first if they will do that, because some don't maybe.
I'd say everybody but one of us probably qualifies as an ARP member. So.
Well, you didn't have to
I got
join.
an ad for their credit card.
Oh.
You can join at the age of 50, so, you know, it's
I
ridiculous.
don't know why they're sending me ads for their credit cards.
I know. Yeah. I was insulted when I got an application for a membership at 45 or something. I thought, now I'd take it at any age.
Lynn, here's a question.
Yeah.
If I'm upstairs and my computer's on, let's say even I'm in to online as well, or like if I were to right now just say I'm going to go downstairs and eat lunch and I just leave everything on. To what extent is that a security risk in terms of people doing bad things, getting into my computer, taking things from me? Or that's question one. Question two, how about if I turn off my what we're doing here? What do you say? So I just got the computer on, but nothing more, versus turn the whole thing off. You see what I mean?
Yeah. For your purposes, I think you could leave it on or off either way, and there's nobody going to be,
For mine, I've got nothing they want.
Unless they come and, to your physical house and do stuff. But, or you downloaded malware on your computer, but you've got antivirus software and ad blockers, so you shouldn't have that at this point.
But they can't get in and take, okay, if I did my taxes online at one point, they can't come in and get information like that or get information about me, identity information.
I mean, they could if they tried hard enough. There's always a possibility with tech that they can do stuff. As gloom and doom as that is, there's always a risk for owning a piece of technology. It's just.
How about if I've got, and I'll stop after this, but how about if I have it on just because I just have it on ready to do, I'm doing word processing stuff.
Right.
I'm not online at all. They can't get into anything then, can they?
If you disconnect from the internet, you should be fine, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So here's a question about on and off with your computer.
Yeah.
So is it better in terms of creating long life for your laptop or your tower to turn your computer off, for say an hour or something, and then turn it back on,
mhm.
or to leave it on because there's more stress with turning it back on and off? How do you get the most life out of your computer? Always turning it off, or always just leaving it on during the day?
Different people and different studies will tell you different things. But
Okay.
What
for
do you
my
do?
purposes, I shut my computer off every week or two, like every once or twice a week. I don't shut it off every night. When I was in college, I would shut it off every night. But at this point, I don't. But it's good to shut it off every like week or two, just so that it reboots and refreshes. But I don't think you have to do it every night. But if you're not using it, save the battery life and power. Like if you've got it connected to a power cord, save the power, save the electricity, you can shut it off. It's not hurting anything. So
Yeah, I usually shut mine off every night.
yeah. Yeah.
That's
I say
stressing it
that-
out.
I think you'll be fine with that. If you're not doing force reboots, you should be fine. So,
Lynn,
Lynn, it was interesting. I had started to just put mine on sleep and, for days at a time. And then I was trying to be in, a word processing program. And I noticed that not everything was coming up. Like the words weren't there. The little icons were there or something. I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And then I realized that I must have used up all my cache or all my RAM or something or other. So when I turned it off and turned it back on, everything was fine again.
yeah. Whenever you have a problem, the first thing you do is restart your computer.
Right.
The first troubleshooting thing is restart, because that almost always will fix the problem. If not, then you Google. And if you can't find the answer on Google, then you contact me or a tech person. But those are your restarting your computer always usually fixes your computer. So it's always good to do that kind of thing. So I'm glad that worked for you. I know this week I had a issue myself and I restarted it and it fixed it. So, and I do know there was an update in Windows this last week. Several people said that the bug weirded out their computers. So I don't know if you guys have that.
What's that mean by weirded out? That's
Wigged out. One person I know, her keyboard no longer worked on her laptop. She had to plug in a other laptop or a keyboard to get it to work. And then she troubleshooted it at home. I just gave her a keyboard to do in the meantime. I didn't have time to fix it. But another person, I forget what the second person's problem was, but there was another update and it fixed it, but I don't remember. There was something, but I don't remember. There's so many. Doug, you were going to say something?
yeah, about a year ago, I was on the phone with an Apple technician about another problem, and she suggested to me that I should shut my computer down like every 2 weeks, unplug it, and leave it sit for about a half an hour, and then plug it in and start it over again. Because during that time, it seems to clean itself up and solve whatever problems that you have. Now, that was for an Apple product. Now, I don't know whether PCs are recommended the same way, but I know that's what she had told me, and I try to do it, every couple weeks. And other than that, I leave the Mac on 24/7.
Me too.
I don't shut it down. I don't make it start and stop and do anything like that. And it, you know, my last Mac lasted 10 years.
Mhm.
I'm doing this, I think, because of perceived security threats.
The best way to protect yourself from threats on the computer is to have it off. That is the,
Don't use it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, or don't use it. Right?
don't use it, don't connect to the internet. Like, if you're worried about that, just
I'm not worried.
from the digital world, but,
I'm not worried, or concerned, but
so if you're overly concerned, shut it off and disconnect it from the internet. But for the type of, I'm not super worried about any of you guys with that kind of stuff.
no, Patty's concerned about security. That's one of the questions I had here, and I don't fault her for it. I mean,
It's always good to be paranoid.
it's an uncertain world. Yeah.
After watching after watching Black Mirror, and I'm sure when I watch next, I'll be even more so. But no, it is. It is. I know we're after 11, so if you have to run off,
Right.
if you guys have more questions, I'm happy to answer as well.
What was the best overall security systems at Front Point, Simply Safe, ADC? Did any of those ring anything a bell to you?
I don't have a security system, so I have not done any research on security systems.
What is it? I mean, it sounds like.
What kind of security system are you looking into? Is it like cameras around the house for intruders? Is it locking your doors? Is it burglar, when you open the door and not have the alarm go off?
I'll have to see. Patty and I have conversations. She writes these things down, so she's reading about what is Front Point.
I don't know I know Simply Safe and all of those.
She said Simply Safe, no contract. What is Simply Safe?
It's a company that does home security. So they're a digital based company. So they're more digital based than some. Yeah. Oh, are you leaving too, Connie?
I am. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
So